So, can you afford to get sick right now? If you're like most Americans, the answer is probably no. That's what we're going to be discussing. Welcome back to A Fresh Perspective with Jeff Charles, where we prefer truth over narrative and principles over politics. And today we're diving again into a topic that is affecting millions of Americans: healthcare costs. Especially in this upcoming election, it's going to become even more important. Before I get into that, you know what to do. You need to like this, you need to share this, and you got to subscribe. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. Also, check out my Substack called Chasing Liberty. You can access that at libertychasers.com. Become a subscriber. That helps my work. Thank you very much. Next, let's get into it. There was a Gallup poll recently showing that 45% of Americans reported skipping treatments or medications because they simply could not afford them. This comes from Gallup West Health. That's nearly half the country, guys, just in case, you're as bad at math as I am. So you've got people like, just a hypothetical. You've got a single mother of two who has to choose between paying for her son's asthma medication and putting food on the table. Or another hypothetical, consider somebody like a father who skipped his own doctor's appointment to save money for his family's needs. These are not isolated incidents. This is the harsh reality for many in America. So I've kind of already covered why healthcare is so expensive. I have a few videos on that. A lot of it has to do with, surprise, government policy. So, in the context, or if we're going to understand the context here, we need to kind of set the stage. Did you know? Did you know that healthcare costs in America have been skyrocketing for years? Yeah, you probably did, right? But here's what you might not have known: the average American spends about $12,555 annually per capita on healthcare. This is almost double the average of other developed nations. This is not just a number, it's a financial burden that affects real people every single day. I mean, you might even be one of that 45% if you're watching this right now. As a matter of fact, there's a 45% chance that you are. Unfortunately, it's a devastating choice: your health or survival, or your finances. And this isn't just affecting low income families, although it's hitting them the hardest. Middle class Americans are also feeling the pinch, especially with inflation going on, all of these economic issues. Yeah, everybody's being affected. Now, other developed nations spend significantly less on healthcare per capita, but in a lot of cases, they achieve better health outcomes. Now, there's a lot of different reasons for that. This is not me advocating for socialist healthcare. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be arguing against that. But why is America lagging behind? The answer is the complex web of insurance companies, pharmaceutical giants, and of course, government policy. You gotta love it. As a matter of fact, government policy contributes to a lot of the problems that companies and pharmaceutical companies uh, uh, inflict on us. So the struggle is very real, it's multifaceted, and people are being forced to make tough choices that we really shouldn't have to make, especially as, the richest nation on earth. So here's the thing: insurance companies and pharmaceutical giants play a significant role in this crisis. Private health insurance corporations are often the largest barrier for people to receive the care they need. Now, if you don't really understand why that is, check out my video on how we got to where we were today, with most Americans relying on employer based health insurance companies for their health, or for their health insurance, which affects how they get their health care. Guys, we don't have control over a lot of our healthcare decisions. It's either the government or these health insurance companies, pharmaceutical giants who work all together. They're all in the same crowded bed to make these decisions for us. And guess what? They're not for our benefit, right? These entities dictate prices and coverage options, and they make it nearly impossible for a lot of Americans to get the necessary treatments that they need. You've got high deductibles and out of pocket costs that add another layer of difficulty. The average family insurance deductible rose from $2,500 in 2013 to $3,800 in 2022. This is what's causing families to either skip or delay essential Medicare, along with a lot of other issues: rising health insurance costs, uh, fueled by government policy. We're at a breaking point. The Gallup West Health Study also highlighted some other alarming statistics, especially this one. 8% of Americans indicated that they would not be able to afford access to affordable healthcare if they required it today. Hence the question that I asked at the beginning. Can you afford to get sick? A lot of people can't. And even for those who can afford it, they're barely affording it. It's tough out there. We all know this. So there's just survey after survey, study after study showing that this problem is getting worse. It's not getting better. That 45% is going to jump up to 50%, to 55%, to 60%, and on up if there's not something that is done about this, which at this rate, we can't really count on anybody. And I don't really care who you're voting for, whether it's Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, or Republicans or Democrats in Congress. This problem isn't going away. Both parties have had time periods where they've had control of the White House, they've had control of both chambers of Congress, and they've done absolutely nothing. Now, are there solutions? Yes, but they're not going to do this until we actually push them forward. And not all the solutions are governmental. Really, the best thing that the government can do is get out of the way and give us more control over our healthcare. I understand that's not going to happen overnight. You've been hearing me talk about health savings account. There's what's called the Access Act, which has been introduced in Congress. It's hopefully going through the process right now. But if this were to pass, then instead of having the cost sharing program through the healthcare exchange, it would actually go towards health savings accounts, which can be used for out of pocket healthcare expenses. You're not having to worry about paying these gargantuan deductibles nearly as much because you've got money in your pocket to spend on whatever kind of healthcare that you need. And your insurance company doesn't get to dictate which procedures you get. They don't get to approve anything because you're paying for it directly to the provider, which can also actually give you more bargaining power. So I wanted to throw that in there, but I also wanted to, had run across this survey by Gallup in West Health, and it's just astounding, these numbers that are coming about how difficult it is for people to get health care. And this affects people young and old. Yes, if you're younger, you're probably more healthy. You probably don't, have as many issues, but you never know what could come up. Something can happen, and you will need to be able to afford health care. So this is again a serious issue. I'm going to actually be talking to other guests about this on my show, people who are more knowledgeable about the healthcare industry, people who work in the healthcare industry. But at the end of the day, if the government is still so deeply involved in healthcare, we're not going to have any solutions to these problems because the government doesn't help. It makes things worse. Let me know what you think. Are you guys struggling with it? I mean, are these healthcare costs, taking a big chunk out of your wallet? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think. And if there's anything else that you want me to cover as far as healthcare goes, or any topics that you want me to explore, hit me up. But until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.